Now we review the 2025 film M3GAN 2.0. Yeah, they went full Terminator. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, so I have just seen M3GAN 2.0, which I had heard it was a flop. I would say it's a disappointing box office, but I wouldn't call it a flop. And if you remember the original M3GAN, what it was a girl gets a toy, a AI robot that predictably goes berserk and kills a bunch of people. All right, and I really enjoyed that film. It's silly, but it's atypical science fiction. You know, these machines. What powers M3GAN? How does she keep running for so long is a really big question, but that's not the point. So yeah, typical fear of AI sort of a movie. Well, M3GAN 2.0 is very similar to Terminator 2 in that, well, now we've got another bad guy and we reprogram or something happens so that the first bad guy is now on our side, all right? One would actually call this a Godzilla plot development because Godzilla and all kaiju that have existing long since films tend to be eventually the good guy in their films. That's one of those things, as opposed to true horror villains that stay horror villains. It's just one of those things. So yeah, we've got this world-ending scenario where there's like a super AI out there that's been maturing for all this time, and it's complicated. Too many moving parts. But I mean, bad guys, good guys, both robots, fight, kill, save world. There you have it. That's your thing. I mean, this actually, there are a lot of Terminator elements in this film. There are elements of a lot of science fiction movies I've seen, and that's one of those things. Is like if you've seen Upgrade, there are parts of this film where yeah, that's from Upgrade, and parts of this film that are from Terminator, and so on and so forth. But there is one part, the antiquated AI, kind of reminds me of an SCP from the SCP Foundation. It's just one of those things that, the likelihood of something like that existing, the concept of an AI chip as opposed to an AI program is a little, I don't know. I mean, I'd have to ask some computer geeks if that can even be a thing, but, Anyway, this movie is another PG-13 horror film, and it has some would-be sexy AI going on in this, as opposed to what it used to be. And it's just, the plot has more moving parts, which is kind of expected. I can't say that I enjoyed it as much as the first film, although, the first film taught me to hate M3GAN a lot. And this film expecting me to forgive M3GAN is really tough. So there's kind of that going on. But when we think about it, it's like Godzilla in the earlier films, he was the monster and he killed thousands of people. And in the later films, he's the good guy. And he's actually saving people. The Terminator thing, however, it's like, the first Terminator movie, is not the same Terminator in the second movie. It's just the same model. So anything it did in the first movie, you have to be able to forgive because this is just his twin brother. M3GAN, it's a little harder for that for me, and again, I think this movie is made around $30 million at the box office, and I think its cost was around 25. So it's made more than it cost, although it hasn't really become a true successful blockbuster because for that to happen, it has to make at least double its money back to be successful. But to put it mildly, the first M3GAN eventually grossed $181 million, or somewhere in that, at the box office. This one is around 30. It's much lower. So the film just doesn't have the same pizzazz. And, you know, as people were like, yes, here it is, Blumhouse making a big budget movie. And as a big budget movie, it's still a pretty piddly budget. Very contained. Which, yeah, I mean, it doesn't follow the rule. The two greatest sequels in the world are Aliens and Terminator 2. Aliens was really a Vietnam movie. It had an incredible level of realism to it. And it was a very interesting sort of a set piece. Terminator 2 had, you know, what was really revolutionary for the time technology and, you know, excellent story. This movie does not have the things that make it stand out. It has no particularly interesting gimmick. It's all stuff we've seen before. And that's kind of the problem with it all being stuff we've seen before, is it's not the standout. I mean, good movies stand out. Good movies create sequels. Good movies create rip-offs. Here you have a movie that is essentially, it's a done story. It doesn't have a gimmick. And it's just the next logical iteration. I mean, people are saying, well, you know, the original writer wanted to keep this in the horror genre. Okay. But where do you go from there? You know? So this is a reasonable entry into the franchise. It's not perhaps as good as the first film. Although the first, I mean, I don't remember what I thought of the first film. Now that I think about it, I mean, you know, there were some things in that film that I didn't care for, and there were some things I liked. It was mostly kind of forgettable. I mean, I think like the M3GAN dance was the big rememberable thing. And the film had strong comedic elements, as does this one, although the first film's comedic elements I thought were funnier. Now, to be clear, this film is not a dud. It may not be doing great at the box office, but we have a bad economy going on, and that's probably what's fueling a bad box office. So don't think of this film as a dud. Think of this film as being, you know, in a bad economy. So yeah, it's middle to upper middle of your watch list. It's a solid action film. I mean, it's no Die Hard, but what is? I can tell you it's a lot better than The Window Cleaner or perhaps The Pearl, although M3GAN does not have the charisma of The Rock. This is a movie that does what it's expected to do, which is entertain me, and it did that. You know, yeah, the plot's a little complicated and thin, but yeah, you know, a lot of movies are right now. Really good movies are hard to make. So, odds are, if you watch M3GAN 2.0, you will be satisfied. You might not think it's a great movie, but you'll probably enjoy it. So yes, middle to upper middle of the watch list. Serviceable film. Some interesting elements, not bad at all. Anyway, that's just my opinion. I'd love to hear yours down in the comments below. I'm Richard.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am Fred the Facehugger, and I'd like to point out that this world isn't a nice place. But you know who's trying to make it a nice place? The owner of this channel, yes. The owner of this channel does things like pay for ocean cleanup, and have trees planted, and even feed orphans in an orphanage in Mexico. Yes, it's a real thing. I'm not kidding. I may be a face-hugging alien from a horror movie, but I'm not a liar. Anyway, when you comment, like, and subscribe, you're supporting that better world, and whereas it may not make a big difference, it may be the difference between one more tree planted, one more pound of trash out of the ocean, or one child not going hungry tonight. So, think about it. Shouldn't you comment? Shouldn't you like? Shouldn't you subscribe? I certainly would if I were you. I'm Fred.